Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our regular council meeting for Tuesday, April the 28th. And it's, of course, getting close to the end of April, and hopefully spring is on its way and summer will follow after. And we get some good weather for a change. Before the regular council meeting, we do have 3 proclamations tonight. And it's my pleasure, first of all, to recognize the Salvation Army and the proclamation. So I'd like to ask representatives from the Salvation Army if you would come and stand to my left, please. I'm going to ask, after I finish the proclamation, I'm going to ask Major Vi to have a few words. I'm just going to warn her now, it's not a sermon. And and you can go with 2 points versus 3 points in your sermon if you like, but certainly I like to recognize the Salvation Army, and the proclamation states the Salvation Army is renowned for its religious and its humanitarian endeavors throughout the world. And whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor gratefully acknowledges the exemplary work of the Salvation Army on behalf of its citizens over many years, and whereas this work is sustained by public contributions in support of the National Red Shield, therefore be it resolved that I, Al Hawkins, Mayor of the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, do hereby proclaim May the 1st to May the 31st, 2015, to be Salvation Army Month, in grateful appreciation of their invaluable service to our community and for their inspirational presence through which they enrich all of our lives. And so it's certainly my pleasure to sign this proclamation tonight and recognize all the work that the Salvation Army does for our community, not only our community, but in fact communities throughout the world. And I know particularly during the Christmas season, so many people are impacted by sometimes, a lot of times, no fault of their own. They find themselves in difficult circumstances. And yet the Salvation Army is always there to make sure that there's food on the table, and particularly during Christmas time there are toys for children, and certainly makes the community what it is and contributes a significant amount to our community. And I've been doing that now in this community for over 100 years. And we certainly recognize all the contributions and thank them, and all the volunteers, because, again, without the volunteers, we know that this could not be possible. So I shall sign the proclamation and thank Major Vi for coming, and you can have a few words to talk a little bit about the Salvation Army. If I should ask Reg to have a few words as well, but anyway, you can go ahead.
She's got all the answers.
Well, I don't know, a clergy and a mic.
That's not
It
good.
goes pretty good. Certainly, thank you so much, Mayor Al Hawkins, for signing this proclamation. I have lived in Grand Falls-Windsor for almost 4 years, and I am the coordinator for the Social Services Department. And the Salvation Army does do a lot of good work in this area, because I speak for this area, but we only do it because of the generosity of the people. And I want to thank all the citizens of the Grand Falls, Windsor, and surrounding areas, because the Red Shield and the Christmas campaign are the 2 biggest fundraisers we have. And these fundraisers raise funds so that we can help with our food banks and run support groups, weekly support groups, and also various other programs throughout the year. So thank you for your kindness, and thank you to the citizens for your generosity.
And thank you very much. Here's your copy, and thank you, and wish you all the best, and looking forward to continually working with you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay, and no one here to represent the Miles for Smiles proclamation, and I will read it. Whereas between 2006 and 2012, 10,897 violent crimes were reported against children under the age of 18 in Newfoundland and Labrador. Can you imagine the stats? Between 2006 and 2012, over 10,000 violent crimes in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And whereas Child Abuse Prevention Month began in 1983 to raise awareness of the alarming rates at which children were being abused and neglected, and whereas every child deserves to grow up in a healthy, safe, and nurturing environment, and whereas child abuse continues to be one of our nation's most serious health problems, studies have shown that child abuse and neglect causes psychological, emotional, and physical harm, which can create lifelong problems for victims of abuse. And whereas child abuse and neglect impacts our entire society and our society's future, and whereas child abuse prevention is a community responsibility and finding solutions depends on the involvement of all people, and whereas this month we emphasize the importance of understanding the devastating problem of child abuse and neglect, and commit to learn more about the behavioral and physical signs of the possible abuse. Therefore, I, Al Hawkins, Mayor of Grand Falls-Windsor, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2015 to be Child Abuse Prevention Month, and urge all citizens to work together to help reduce child abuse and neglect significantly in the years to come. And I know that the month is just about finished, so we were late getting this proclamation, but I felt it was important enough that we should have it entered into our public meeting tonight, because again, it's another area that we are all concerned about, and certainly encourage all citizens to understand that abuse of any kind is totally unacceptable in our society today, and that we should all do our best to make sure we're all educated and we all know what's happening around us, and in many cases try to be preventive to make sure we can prevent some of these things from happening in our society. The third proclamation, it's certainly my pleasure to present this proclamation on Municipal Awareness Day. And we do have an official spokesperson for that, and she might have something to say about that later, and that's Councillor Coady-Davis. But whereas municipal government is responsible for the provision of services that enhance the quality of life of its citizens, and whereas dedicated mayor, councillors, and staff are essential for the effective governance of their municipalities, and whereas citizen involvement is essential for an active community, and whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize and encourage the contribution of all who work diligently for the improvement of our municipalities. Therefore, be it proclaimed that May the 6th be known as Municipal Awareness Day in municipalities of Newfoundland and Labrador, in recognition of the vital role of municipal government and in recognition of all those and efforts that support it. I hereby declare May the 6th Municipal Awareness Day in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. And just make a few comments, and it's not going to be based on mayor or councillors, but more geared towards our staff and our workers. And certainly it's an opportunity for us as a community to recognize the hard work that our staff, from managers down to frontline workers, make on a daily basis for the betterment of our town. We are probably living, not probably, I know we're living in probably one of the best communities in the province. And we've worked hard over the years to get to where we are. And again, a lot of times our workers work under very adverse conditions. When does the water line break? Usually the coldest day of the winter, when the wind is either northerly or northeasterly, and it's freezing outside, and we've got freezing rain and everything else that happens. Our snow clearing in the winter, when does it happen? It doesn't happen in the middle of July. It happens on probably one of the worst days in the winter. And so many times our workers are out there when many of us are sitting home and comfortable and sitting back and taking it easy. And yet these are services that are provided. And I'd just like to compliment our entire staff because of the fact that over the years that we have found ways in working with through our collective agreement to make sure that we're providing the best possible services in the most efficient and effective manner. And we've done a great job over the years in being able to keep our costs down. And if we look at some of the statistics that we have out there through our collective bargaining and through our collective agreements, that we probably have some of the lowest taxes in the entire province. and we're providing services for these, and providing services to our citizens. So I really like to take this opportunity to acknowledge all of our workers in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor for the exceptional job that they do, and making sure that the services that are provided in this community are second to none in the province, and that we live in a community such we have here in Grand Falls-Windsor. And I think that all of our citizens really appreciate the fact that we have that. I know sometimes there are some irritant or irritation moments when our garbage sometimes may not be picked up on time, or in fact with new regulations, but these are things we work through. But again, having said that, I think for the majority of the cases, we're doing great service. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to recognize our workers on Municipal Awareness Day. And if you get a chance on May the 6th, and if you're out and the garbage collector comes along, say, this is Municipal Awareness Week, and I really appreciate you picking up my garbage. Or if you're out and there's a break in the line, stop by and say thank you. Or if you see a line or something that's broken, you see 4 or 5 of our workers and you want to go over to Robbins or some other Tim's or McDonald's or any of the restaurants that's around that serve coffee and donuts, go out and pick up a half a dozen and drop off to the workers. I'm sure they would appreciate it. So, and that's not advertising for any of our local businesses, but just the donuts and the coffee shops. So, anyway, getting back to our regular meeting, which of course we have our agenda in front of us. There's one addition, subtraction from our agenda, which is our disbursement report. So that will be removed from the agenda. And otherwise, everyone, any additions to the agenda that you have? If not, I have a motion to accept the agenda as circulated. It's moved and second. The minutes from, let's see, trying to get all my additions in there now. The minutes from Tuesday, April the 7th. Any errors or omissions from the minutes that were circulated? If not, we'll have a motion to accept the minutes as circulated for April the 7th. Moved by Councillor Pinsent and second by Councillor Coady-Davis. Slogan started tonight. That was meeting number 444. And all those in favor? Contraminded or against? The motion is carried. I'd like to mention that due to other commitments that Councillor Moores is not with us tonight, and Councillor Finn has been called into St. John's for meetings, and so 2 of the councillors are not with us. Any business arising out of the minutes? If not, we'll move on to our committee reports, and we'll go to Parks, Recreation, and Special Events, and we're going to Deputy Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, the Parks, Recreation, Special Events Committee met on Tuesday, April 21st. In attendance were myself as chair, Councillor Amy Coady-Davis, Councillor Rodney Mercer, Councillor Bruce Moores, Councillor Tom Pinsent, and Councillor Darren Finn. Staff in attendance were Keith Antle, the Parks and Recreation Foreman, Todd Mercer, Leisure Services Programmer, and David Nichols, the Director of Parks and Recreation. Correspondence, Cursillo Movement. The committee discussed correspondence received from the Cursillo Movement of the Anglican Diocese Central Newfoundland requesting town imprinted items for the 80 delegates attending a national convention camp. The committee recommends that this request be approved. 30-day Fit Challenge. The update, the committee discussed the 30-day Fit Challenge with the town and is participating in the month of April. Several events have been held to date. The committee encourages our residents to become involved in a daily activity and report this activity to the Parks and Recreation Office by telephoning 489-0450. Just a couple days left to do that. 2015 Tech Centennial Cup. The Parks and Recreation Foreman informed the committee that the 11th Annual Tech Centennial Cup will be held on June 21st. Last year, 270 runners and walkers participated in the event, and even greater numbers are anticipated this year. Litter Cleanup Program. The committee discussed plans for the 2nd Annual Litter Cleanup Program, which will be held from May 7th to the 9th. Several groups have already committed to be involved this year, and any groups or individuals who wish to participate can contact the Leisure Services Programmer by telephoning 05, and I believe that should be 88, right? 68? Okay. 0568. Number changed. It's got two numbers. I get them at 88. 68's correct then, eh? Okay. Anyhow, if you want to participate, I'm sure you'd find someone at the rec department. Summer student employment.
Little 450, didn't you?
Yeah. The director informed the committee that the town has received notification that funding has been approved under the Federal Student Employment Grant Program. The details regarding the amount of funding approved, the number of positions, and the employment duration will be provided by Service Canada in the next few weeks. Meeting with ArtX Festival Corporation representatives, the committee welcomed ArtX Festival representatives Ms. Joanne Mack and Ms. Nellie Wall to the meeting at 5:30 p.m. The representatives thanked the town for their support in past years and presented the committee with their plans and goals for 2015. The representatives requested that the town commit assistance in obtaining designated space at the Excite Building as a non-profit shared tenant, assistance in partnering with ArtX during the Salmon Festival, and the town provides sponsorship funding of $2,500. The committee and representatives discussed the requests in detail. The ArtX representatives were excused from the meeting at 6 p.m. The committee further discussed the requests and recommends that staff determine if office space is available at the Excite Building, and if so, the office space be designated for the ArtX Festival Corporation. The committee recommends that the director assist the corporation to partner with the town during the 2015 Salmon Festival. The committee also recommends that a $1,500 grant be referred to the Finance and Administration Committee for consideration for sponsorship funding for 2015. And just for clarification, the Salmon Festival requests, basically they're going to have a art exhibit / show at the Arts and Culture Center that weekend at the Gordon Pinsent Center, and they just want to be included in our publicity and that sort of thing, so we agreed to help them out there. R&L Central Seminar. The director informed the committee that the Recreation Newfoundland Labrador Central Seminar will be held on April 29th. It is hoped that the extension of an extra week will encourage more central committees to attend the seminar. Summer Ball Hockey Program. The Leisure Services Programmer informed the committee that interest has been received to operate a summer minor ball hockey nighttime program. The department will organize and administer this program. Mudfest update. The committee discussed Mudfest 2015, which will be held on June the 12th and 13th. The Mudfest website will be up and running on April 22nd, and registration can be completed online. It was noted that an obstacle course and Friday night activities have been added. Registration is limited and will be on a first-come, first-served basis. So, Mr. Mayor, you get your ATV and your truck out and you want to get all muddy and go through the ditches and...
I could probably get my Highlander out,
Yeah, well,
get her moving,
I hope we got four-wheel drive.
four-wheel drive.
But we got to get people out. I think there's been some good interest in this as well. Of course, our midwinter biver was a huge success this winter, and we hope the Mudfest in our first attempt will be a carryover of that, and I think it will be a fantastic event. Summer program brochure. The staff informed the committee that the summer program activities, special events, and tournaments are being finalized and will be included in the summer brochure. The brochure will be distributed to all households and be online in mid-June 2015. Memorial Grounds project update. The director informed the committee that funding has been applied for from 3 separate grant programs for the Memorial Grounds project. Notification will be received in the next month or so from one grant program and in July for the other 2 applications. 2015 landscaping and summer work. The Parks and Recreation foreman informed the committee of the anticipated 2015 landscaping and summer work to be completed. In addition to the regular operations work, will be required to complete several capital projects. The committee recommends that summer staff be recalled as soon as possible, pending the current labor report. Field rentals update. The staff presented some concerns expressed with groups booking fields without department notification or permission. Staff will meet with field users next week to confirm field rental dates and proper field booking procedures. Dog park update. The committee discussed the new dog park work to be completed before the park will be available for usage. There is some interior gravel grading, stone installation, and sodding to be completed. The tentative date for the opening of the new dog park is set for early June 2015. Now, Mr. Mayor, I should mention, in speaking to the recreation foreman this week, we're certainly hoping that that dog park will be available before that June date. The workers are returning next week, and if if it's dry enough up there, work will commence, and there's not a whole lot left to do. So I know the dog park people are anxious to get in there, and hopefully this new park will lead to even more users. Sparkling Blades Gala event update. The committee discussed the Sparkling Blades Gala event, which was held on Sunday, April 19th. The event was a great success and featured 2-time world figure skating champions and 3-time Olympic medalists, Tessa Virtue and Scott Moore, as guest skaters. The committee congratulates the Sparkling Blades Figure Skating Club on organizing such an excellent event. The committee will present a financial statement of the event at the next meeting. Midwinter Biver financial statement. The Leisure Services Programmer presented the Midwinter Biver financial statement. The end result was a net surplus of $1,363. The committee would like to acknowledge the sponsorship of the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, Adventure Central, Tech Pond Resources, and the Mount Peyton Hotel. The staff will review participants' survey comments and begin planning for 2016 Midwinter Biver in the next few weeks. Special events and tournament lists, spring and summer. The committee reviewed a tentative list of 2015 spring and summer special events and tournaments presented by the director. There are a large number of events and tournaments planned for the various parks and recreation facilities throughout the spring and summer. The committee noted that the number of events and activities has been increasing each year and encourages all residents to participate and attend the many events. Playground layout plans. The committee reviewed the Goodyer Avenue Complex and Main Street playground plans in detail. The committee discussed all of the play structures and individual play components to be installed at their locations. The committee also discussed other equipment to be required, such as lighting, fencing, landscaping, and pavement. The committee recommends that further review and additions to the playground layout plans be discussed at the next committee meeting. And the long-awaited, long-anticipated splash pad is getting even closer, and that'll be accompanied by a fully revamped new playground, which I know a lot of people are excited about as well, and not the least of which is our own council. We can't wait to get down there, and there's equipment for all ages, Mr. Mayor, as
Slide
you're
down the
aware.
slide and on the swing and swing away.
Swing away, and there's some elliptical equipment and that sort of thing, so that
Well, I
parents
don't
and
wanna get too-
grandparents,
I don't want to get too complicated and stuff.
we're
Getting elliptical.
no, we wouldn't want you to get in too good a shape. But really looking forward to that. And again, I mean, we wish all these things to be ready to go as soon as the summer breaks. But as everybody's aware, of course, the town has a pretty aggressive work plan, a lot of things on the go. So we just ask everybody to be patient as we continue to try to get all these facilities completed and ready for use. And with that, Mr. Mayor, the meeting adjourned at 7:15 p.m., and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Moved by Deputy Mayor and second by Councillor Mercer. Any questions, discussions on the Parks, Recreations, and minutes? If not, all those in favor? Oh. The Deputy Mayor was right? Deputy Mayor's never wrong. I'll tell you right now. He's got it just, it's just on speed dial for him. All those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. And getting back to the agenda, Public Works and Planning, Deputy Mayor, you're on again, boy.
Mayor, just in the event of full disclosure, with the Public Works agenda, land request purchase 378 Grenfell Heights. That is a personal item for me, so I'll excuse myself from this portion of the meeting.
Well, can we have a motion from somebody to move that out so that you don't miss all the minutes?
I'd prefer to remove myself from the entire reading of the minutes. We do have enough form.
Yeah, we do in fact, but all I'm saying is we could remove that section so you can at least have an input on the rest of the committee and be able to vote on the rest of the committee, because we're actually removing that piece. That will be then voted on separately with you out of the room. And once that's voted on separately, and it's no longer part of that set of minutes, and you can come back in and participate in the discussion on the rest.
I'm willing to do that if Mr. Griffin is willing to document it appropriately.
That is absolutely correct.
Okay.
That is absolutely correct. So if we could have a motion, moved by Councillor Coady-Davis, second by Deputy Mayor, we're removing land request 378 Grenfell Heights. All those in favor and against, motion is carried, and you can be excused, and we will sing out to you when you're ready. All right. Keep them out there. Okay, Deputy Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I'll go through the attendance and that, and then get right into that issue, and then I won't
Yeah.
repeat myself on the attendance when we get
Correct.
into the rest, okay? The minutes of the Public Works and Planning Committee was held on Monday, April 20th, 2015, at 4:30 p.m. Present were Chairperson Councilor Darren Finn, myself, Councilor Bruce Moores, Councilor Amy Coady-Davis, Councilor Tom Pinsent. Staff present were Town Manager Michael Pinsent, Director of Engineering and Works Jeff Saunders, Supervisor of Engineering and Public Works Wayne Tate, and Town Planner Mary Wong. Land request, 378 Grenville Heights. The committee reviewed the request for additional land at the rear of 378 Grenville Heights. The committee recommends the request be approved and the land sold per policy. I move that this be adopted.
Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Mayor and seconded by Councilor Coady-Davis that the piece of land on 378 Grenville Heights will be approved and sold as per policy. Any questions, discussions?
Yeah, just to clarify, I just want everybody to be aware that this is basically a standard request that we receive many times. Councilor Mercer wanted to remove himself because it was personal in nature, obviously, but nothing different than what we see many times when residents are requesting backlands that are purchased at the regular price.
Correct. All those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. Bring them back. Want to get away from minutes? You don't get away from that easy. All right. I just thought you wanted to get away from the minutes. I said, you don't get away that easy. What? All right, Deputy Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, as I said, I already went through the attendance, so to get right into the meeting, 109A Lincoln Road. The committee reviewed the request for development at 109A Lincoln Road at a recent meeting. Upon further review, the residential use is greater than the commercial use. Therefore, the discretionary use process is required. This notice has been advertised, and any representation on this matter will be tabled at the next Public Works Committee meeting. Land sale policy. The committee discussed the existing land sale policy, and it needs to be rewritten to incorporate the changes over the past couple of years and also reflect the issues with acquisition of sale of Crown land. The committee recommends that staff work on this policy, but it won't be finalized until the Crown Lands Act and Municipalities Act review is complete. Correspondence, Exploits Welding and Machine Shop. The committee reviewed the correspondence from the Exploits Welding and Machine Shop requesting a review of the sale price for the land at the rear of their property at 2 Queensway. The committee reiterated the land sale policy for backland at $1 per square foot plus legal survey and HST, and recommends the previous decision be upheld. Riverfront Visioning Workshop. The committee discussed the schedule for the Riverfront Visioning session and agrees it be held at the Mount Peyton Hotel on Tuesday, May 12th from 7 to 9 p.m. Council is inviting the public to come and share their ideas and input for the redevelopment of one of our community's valuable assets, the riverfront. Residents are asked to notify the town by noon, Monday, May the 11th, if they plan to attend, so we can prepare for the appropriate numbers. And, Mr. Mayor, we cannot understate the importance of this whole exercise that we've started now with planning for riverfront development, and I really encourage, as all council would, the general public to get out and to make their ideas heard, to give their opinions, to voice their concerns, to do and say whatever they think is relevant to this planning process. And, you know, some people are wondering how this is going to work. Well, we have a facilitator there who will basically go through the exercise of getting the ideas out there. Really, it's not going to be a Q&A session because there's no decisions that have been made at this point. This is an exercise to get the people out, and basically a very basic brainstorming session, if you will, where we can start getting all the ideas and that out there and put them on record so that they can be considered going forward. So very important to get out, and I should say as well that I know any of the councillors are available, and yourself as mayor, for input as well. If someone cannot make that date, then there's other ways that you can submit your feelings and your opinions as well. Correspondence, land request, Hunt's Concrete. The committee reviewed the revised land request from Hunt's Concrete and recommends it be approved. Town staff will prepare and submit the Crown Land application. Development, Cartwright Street Plaza. The committee discussed correspondence from the business group located in the Cartwright Street Plaza, maintaining the rear access to O'Neill Avenue and snow storage for winter operations appear to be the main concerns. Adhering to development regulations and advertising the sale of the property were also issues raised that have to be addressed. The committee acknowledges an access road from O'Neill Avenue has been in use for many years, but was never a planned access. Newfoundland Labrador Housing Corporation sold this property, and there was never any land identified as an access. The committee recommends that a 6-meter easement be established adjacent to the CNIB property for access from O'Neill Avenue. The business group will still be required to address their access on properties owned by the individual businesses. Additional lands will be cleared and graded at the Sutherland Drive end of the parking lot for additional parking and snow storage as required. Milled asphalt will be placed on this area as a finished surface. The committee also recommends that the land being sold for development be offered by public tender to all interested parties. Home-based business, 3 Glenwood Avenue, childcare. The town received a request for a childcare service at home-based business located at 3 Glenwood Avenue. This was advertised in the local newspaper, and the engineering department did not receive any objections. The committee recommends that this request be approved. Mobile sawmill, 267 Grenfell Heights. The committee discussed the application for a mobile sawmill at 267 Grenfell. The mill is located approximately 1,800 feet from existing residential properties on Grenfell Heights and within the rural zone. The committee recommends this request be approved with the following conditions. It be for personal use only. No wood should be transported off-site for processing, and that a permit from forestry for a mobile sawmill be obtained. Garbage regulations. The committee discussed revisions to the garbage regulations to meet the new Central Waste Management Recycling Program. These regulations have been circulated for several weeks and feedback was provided. The committee recommends that the revised regulations as attached be approved. Spring cleanup schedule. There have been complaints from some residents in recent years concerning the schedule for spring cleanup. The committee recommends that the spring cleanup schedule be changed by 1 day each year. The first day last year would be 2nd, the second day would be 3rd, and so on. The last day would move to the first collection day, and this is just to change things up to allow people who normally are first on the list to work their way down the line. The other thing I'd like to mention in relation to this is that our Saturday drop-off facility will be open for the next few Saturdays consecutively for those that want to get the excess stuff out to our facility. I think this Saturday being May the 2nd, and then the 9th and the 16th, at least 3 weeks in a row. Okay, all except for the May 24th weekend, it would be open.
Which is May the
18th, I think, somewhere around there. So, I mean, if you want to get out and make use of that facility, which many do, and anytime during the year, that schedule can be found on our website quite easily if you want to check to see when it's open. Capital update. The committee reviewed the latest update on the upcoming Capital Works program and recommends it be approved. The committee recommends that the slip lane off Union Street to Lincoln Road be changed to slow traffic down and minimize the conflict with traffic leaving the CCH ramp onto Lincoln Road. The committee also recommends that the proposed new roundabout be circulated to the media and posted on our social media site for public viewing. This project is at the design stages and construction is expected this season. Ball field lighting tender. Tenders for ball field lighting closed on Tuesday, April 14th. 6 bids were received. The bids from 2 companies were disqualified because the required information was not supplied with the tender documents. The successful bid was from BSB Electrical for $625,229. Budget for this work was $666,500. The committee recommends the tender be awarded to BSB Electrical. 2014 Summer Drinking Water Quality Report. The committee reviewed the drinking water quality report for the summer of 2014. Our running average THM concentrations were 72.4, what's that measurement again? Micrograms per liter, UGL, micro. I I guess milligrams, just trying to, not my forte.
Per liter.
And the recommended guideline is 100. Our running average for HHA's concentration was 54, and the recommended guideline was 80. Both byproducts are associated with health-related issues, and we are well within the accepted guidelines. Our drinking water quality score is 100, and the drinking water quality ranking is excellent. This score and ranking means water quality is protected with a virtual absence of impairment. Conditions are very close to pristine levels. These index values can only be obtained if all measurements meet recommended guidelines virtually all of the time. The committee is very pleased with the testing results and the management and operation of the water treatment plant and recommends the report be accepted. And obviously, good news out there once again that Grand Falls-Windsor drinking water is one of the best in the province in terms of its pristine levels. Correspondence from Main Street businesses. The committee discussed concerns from Main Street businesses relating to parking and traffic. The committee recommends these issues be reviewed by staff and report back to the committee. Workplace response policy. The committee discussed the proposed workplace response policy and recommends it be forwarded to the Finance Department for review and formal decision. And the meeting adjourned at 8:15 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Mayor. We have a seconder for those minutes. Second by Councillor Coady-Davis. Any discussion, questions on the minutes as circulated? Okay, now, I just have one item, I guess, because I missed the discussions. I was not attending the Public Works meeting, other things to do. So I didn't get a chance to get involved in the discussion. Just a quick question, I guess, for clarification. I'm not sure that people are aware of the fact that we are looking at a roundabout for our the Granfolites intersection, the very dangerous Granfolites intersection, I might add. And I noticed it's the recommendation to be circulated to the media and posted on our social media site for public viewing. I'm just wondering, is it just public viewing or public input as well? Or have we made that decision now and we're moving forward with that? Or we'd like to have some suggestions? I just wanted some clarity because it is, you know, I know that roundabouts are becoming very popular in a lot of cities in Atlantic Canada, and more are being used, and obviously the evidence is out there that it's probably safer than a lot of the traditional lighting systems and stop signs and all that sort of thing. But certainly it's somewhat new, particularly for Grand Falls-Windsor, although we do have somewhat of a roundabout right here on High Street. That's probably a little bit on a smaller scale. This will be on a larger scale. It will be new to this area, and I'm just wondering, I know that it'll be put there for viewing, but again, I'm just wondering if we had discussed that at all, Deputy Mayor.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, Director of Engineering, but my understanding is that this project has been agreed upon and is moving forward, and it's out there for public viewing now just to show people what has been planned down there. But I would suggest, as is always the case, that public input is always welcome. So people who have any opinions, concerns, or suggestions otherwise than what we've planned to do down there are more than welcome. But that's planned to go ahead in this year's capital budget.
I was just trying, I'm just trying to, of course, there's so much that actually does go through, and very difficult unless you got it in front of you, and that, I was just trying to remember if in fact we had specifically got that recommendation and we had agreed to it, but anyway, again, I think it's worth getting out there, and you know, I think the area has to be addressed, and you know, we've done a lot of research on that, and I think the recommendations come back to us that's probably, and I know it may be a bit of a challenge when we look at a lot of the larger trucks that's going to be there, but I think with the scaling that we have there, it certainly it should work, and hopefully you know, be able to alleviate the issues and problems that we've been having there. Certainly traffic will have to slow down. The roundabout, when you got to come to a roundabout, you ain't going to be going down there at full tilt. So there's going to be certainly a curbing of speed to say the least, and hopefully that will all become a safer intersection. So, yeah, well, it's a good idea. Let's get it out there, and again, you know, we're always open, I guess, to comments.
Single lane out, it's not, you know, double lanes, counter lanes, so it's, and it is designed for, there is a lot of truck traffic, but it is designed for the volume of truck traffic that goes through, so.
Okay, any further questions, discussions? If not, all those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. And let's get back to Finance Administration. Councilor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Finance Administration Committee meeting met Wednesday, April 22nd, 2015 at 4:30 p.m. In attendance, myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Barry Manuel, Councilor Bruce Moore, Councilor Amy Coady-Davis, Councilor Tom Pinsent, Councilor Darren Finn, and staff in attendance, Barry Griffin, Director of Finance and HR, Mike Pinsent, Town Manager, Jeff Saunders, Director of Engineering, and in his role, I guess, as acting manager while our manager is on vacation. Finance Department year-end reports. The committee reviewed the year-end reports for Finance, Human Resources, Police, and the Fire Department. The committee was pleased with the level of activity and recommends that these reports be accepted. Human Resources job descriptions. The committee reviewed proposed amendments to our job description manual. The committee recommends these be reviewed for discussion at the next Finance Committee meeting. Human Resources Leisure Services Programmer. The committee reviewed correspondence from the Leisure Services Programmer concerning the one-year contractual position. The committee noted that funds for this position were included in the 2015 budget and recommends this be extended for a period of 1 year. The committee also recommends that the Director of Recreation review the outcome and performance of the position for discussion in the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting coming up. Cash collection. The committee reviewed the cash collection reports from March 31st, 2015. Total amount outstanding at that time was $5,780,460, a decrease of $330,797, approximately 5.4% from the previous year. The committee was extremely pleased with collections year to date and recommends staff continue to pursue all outstanding arrears. Labor report. The committee reviewed the labor cost as of week 14. Total labor was $830,226. This was $7,815, or 0.9% in excess of budget. The committee recommends that staff continue to monitor labor cost. Fusion. The committee reviewed a proposed payment plan for outstanding rental arrears at the Excite Center. Included in the proposal is the acquisition of a generator. The committee recommends that this be accepted. Grand Falls Golf Club. The committee reviewed statement for the Grand Falls Golf Club for the year end October 31st, 2014. The committee recommends that the Director of Finance meet with the golf club to review these results. Funding requests. The committee reviewed a request from JTRF Telus Walk. The committee recommends this be denied as per our donation policy. ARDEX 2015. The committee received a request from ARDEX for funding for 2015 events. The committee recommends $1,500 be approved for this. The committee also recommends that staff look into providing space at the Excite building for their use. Workplace response policy. The committee reviewed a workplace response policy for emergency response. The committee recommends this policy be approved. The meeting adjourned at 8 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Mercer and second by Councilor Coady-Davis. Any questions, discussions on the finance minutes? If not, all those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. And, son, I tell you, Deputy Mayor, you're earning your wage tonight. Committee of the whole. Yeah, I tell you.
Busy night tonight. The Committee of the Whole met at 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday, April 22nd. Present were myself, Councilor Tom Pinsent, Councilor Bruce Moores, Councilor Darren Finn, Councilor Amy Coady-Davis, and also staff Jeff Saunders and Barry Griffin. Municipality Act Review. The committee reviewed the staff report identifying our concerns with the Municipalities Act. The act is written as a one-size-fits-all legislation that does not consider the complexities and capabilities of larger towns. It contains legislation for local service districts and regional councils that build up the act and make it cumbersome. The penalties section should reference the municipal ticketing authority. Section 203, economic development, is very vague and should identify what municipalities can do with regard to economic development. Grand Falls-Windsor owns an office building that was designed for IT and business processing companies. This is used to attract new businesses through business prospecting. We also have a farmers market, and while providing opportunities for local farmers, we would be accused of competing with existing business. The most significant issue for use is the servicing and sale of commercial land. We have recently developed an industrial park, and based on the act, every lot that is sold must be sold through public tender. This is a stumbling block and a huge deterrent to economic development. The committee recommends that the attached report be forwarded to the Department of Municipal and Intergovernmental Affairs. Electoral boundary. The committee reviewed the draft changes to the electoral boundaries for the province. There is a concern with the balance of representation for rural Newfoundland. The distribution based on population does not take into account districts that have to deal with up to 20 municipal councils or local service districts and 14,000 square kilometers of district. There are districts in the Avalon area that have no municipal councils, are next door to the Confederation Building, and have a district area of 5 to 10 square kilometers. The committee recommends that Deputy Mayor Manuel present this information at the public sitting scheduled for Grand Falls-Windsor on Tuesday, April 28th at the Mount Peyton. And I did do that this afternoon, and just to, I guess, on those notes that are there in our minutes, I'd just like to add on to those. We talked about the districts and Grand Falls-Windsor moving from 2 MHAs to 1 MHA potentially based on the proposal. And one could view that as a step backwards. Obviously, you know, you don't have the second MHA to fall back on if things don't work out. Sometimes you may have two who are in the government side. Sometimes you may have one of each. But ultimately, we felt that the issue of rural Newfoundland losing 7 of the 8 MHA seats to be cut was even a bigger issue. So that's what we spoke to. We felt it was our obligation as a community to support the communities around us and all over Newfoundland in rural areas. When you got Newfoundland and Labrador were, you know, as the commission were told that Labrador is status quo, and that in itself, you know, was a bit of a concern, I think, for rural Newfoundland, given that they're the ones that are feeling the brunt of this proposal. And it says there, I mean, if you're an MHA and you're in St. John's Centre, for example, you have a very small radius, and you don't have to deal with people calling you about potholes in the road or municipal issues. That's dealt with by the city, and it's much the same for Grand Falls-Windsor when it comes down to it. But when you look at an MHA for this potential, I'll use the District of Exploits as an example, which is the district that's going to surround Grand Falls-Windsor, that has a square kilometer footprint of 14,400 with over 20 municipalities, and there's other districts with over 40 municipalities. So how can an MHA effectively represent a district that not only presents such a challenge geographically, but also has so many, you know, other issues when it comes down to representation? You got to make sure that it's a fair process. And I mean, personally, I'd love to be an MHA in St. John's Centre, because in reality, you're not going to hear from the city, and there's no other municipal councils to bother you, and you're just dealing with the individual concerns. So it comes down to effective representation, and under the proposal, we didn't believe as a community that this is fair to rural Newfoundland and wanted to go on the record as such. So I'm not sure what will come out of our discussions and if there will be any changes made. But I also like to say, and I did say there today, that this council is one which is I like to think is a glass half full. So whether we have one MHA or two MHAs at the end of the day, we will make sure that the needs of this community are met provincially through our efforts and whoever that individual may be. So with all that said, Mr. Mayor, and I could go on a long time about that, but that meeting of the Committee of the Whole, meeting adjourned at 7:45 p.m., and I move that the recommendations and report be adopted by council.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor and second by Councillor Pinsent. Any further questions or discussions on the Committee of the Whole?
Mayor Hawkins? Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment on the electoral boundary. I did host a joint council meeting here last week. Myself and Councillor Pinsent were here, and we had representation from the communities in the proposed district of exploits. And we did present to them our position, or the position that we would be taking on the electoral boundaries and how it affects rural Newfoundland and Labrador, and how the district of, how we would support the district of exploits in the issues that they had with this proposed boundary change. And they were very impressed with the stand that we had decided to take with regards to rural Newfoundland, and in leaving ourselves out of the discussion, whether we felt positively or negatively about Grand Falls-Windsor boundary changing, and focusing the attention on rural Newfoundland and our surrounding areas. So they were very impressed that we had chosen to take that stand, and that we would support them in their efforts to make their points with regards to the issues and challenges that they'll be facing if this new boundary change comes into effect. So I just wanted to pass that on.
Councillor Pinsent, I thought I saw you moving. The body was moving.
Oh, I'm not touching that one. I didn't touch them. I could, but I didn't touch that one. Just to, it is, as the Joint Council, and this afternoon was chaired by Councillor Davis, and excellent job, but they were very impressed with what was said. But there were some of the other things that haven't been mentioned is, we're a region, and our strength, of course, is our surrounding community strength is our strength. And in in the district of exploits, if it goes through, you think of the number of communities trying to compete now for capital works grants for roads and these types of things, and one MHA trying to do it for 5 districts or six towns and municipalities, and it's plain and simple is not fair. And so they're not going to get the infrastructure money that they would have. So that was one of the concerns, and that's one of the, once again, one of the grand weaknesses we really started here tonight. So in my mind, the whole electoral boundary, and I have no political aspirations beyond here, it seems like it's a political decision being done in haste and being forced through, because it was supposed to be reviewed next year anyway. I don't know what the rush, 4 years' time, how much is it really going to save in the grand scheme of things? But, the money that you would save, I think, is going to hurt rural Newfoundland, and rural Newfoundland is reeling enough as it is. And I think it should be, it's something that was done in haste, and they don't need to be in haste. So I hope that the government of the day will have a good look at it, and look at the pros and cons, and hopefully review this decision, because I think it's bad for rural Newfoundland.
Any further discussions? All those in favor? Minutes? Against? Motion's carried. Where are we? Putting in my code. Putting in my codes. I gotta put the codes in. I get time out here. Notice of motion. No notice of motion. We move on to other business, and if we could keep our notice of our business to a few points in point form will be greatly appreciated, and we'll start with, where did I start last time? Okay, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to get the exercise, because we do have an exercise program on the go. Can we submit the exercise up and down?
Yeah, we may have to do some actual exercise here besides our tongue. We seem to be good at that one, that's for sure.
That should be a good one, yeah.
Yeah, just a few things, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I had the honor today of representing the town at the National Day of Mourning. Today is the National Day of Mourning for workers injured or killed in the workplace, and staggering to know that in 2014 in Newfoundland and Labrador alone there were 29 workplace-related injuries or illnesses that resulted in death, and 900 across Canada. So it's very important that we continue to keep awareness to that issue and to take actions where possible to try to curb some of those results. And just like to commend Kathy Oak, who is so passionate in what she does and has been involved in that effort for some years, and I thought she done a great job today, and even in her own words, very passionate about how she feels about that issue. Just wanted to mention that. Last week, had the opportunity, along with Councillor Mercer, to attend the Youth Mental Health Conference that took place all-day session on Friday. And I'd just like to commend the people who spearheaded that originally, which would be Dr. Lynette Powell and Dr. Chris Luscombe and some other physicians at Central Health. And we always talk about how fortunate we are here in Grand Falls-Windsor and Central with the strength we have at Central Health. We're really amongst the leaders in the province, not only in the care received, but the educational piece here. And this is a situation where the local physicians particularly have recognized that this is serious. I mean, they're inundated at the walk-in clinics, they're inundated at emergency rooms. We know over the past year or two particularly the number of suicides, attempted suicides, the apparent drug issues here in Grand Falls, Windsor and surrounding areas, the crime rates which have continued to increase. So it's nice to see that this group has taken upon themselves to get all the important stakeholders together for this conference, and was facilitated by a professional out of St. John's. There will be a report available, and I certainly hope and I do expect that there'll be some action items that will come out of that conference that would allow us to continue to be proactive in attacking that very serious issue that we deal with. And I'm sure there are many, many other communities who are facing the same sorts of issues.
Is there any, format or follow-up or model, or that would you continue like using a certain, I'm just using that word loosely, template or model that we can move forward and coming out of that workshop that we could?
Well, really right now we're going to wait on the report that'll come from this professional. I know that some of the discussion was around how we move forward with this, and whether or not there is going to be a committee struck with all stakeholders, a smaller committee that would meet on a regular basis and would keep the rest of the stakeholders in the loop so that input can be given in that. But right now it's very early in the stage, but the common theme and what was being said there amongst everybody is we hope that this is not a one-off. A lot of these people that took part, the teachers and the social workers and the healthcare staff, these types of sessions and that are kind of normal to them. So I could hear from them, though, that this was different. This is a very serious issue they all recognized, so that everybody's looking forward to making sure that we continue the momentum that was started on Friday. And again, those physicians in particular should be commended for doing that. And the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, of course, supported that event, and we're very proud to do so, because I know we've discussed many times amongst ourselves the issues in our community that we would like to address, and when Councillor Mercer has a say, maybe he'd want to add to that. Here in the media today, the long-term beds announced for Newfoundland and Labrador, and 360, I believe, long-term care beds, and certainly hope that a number of those will be here in Grand Falls-Windsor, and we've talked already about the dire need for those. And to me, you can throw the partisan politics and all the financial and everything out the window. As far as I'm concerned, this is something that's very much needed. All you need to do is go up in the hospital at any time and see people lying in the corridor on gurneys and that because they can't get a bed. So great news. How they get to the end of it, privatizing, public partnerships, the costs, again, to me, not totally irrelevant, obviously, but the fact that this is being done, very good news for our community and for our citizens, and particularly our older citizens who are going to be in need of this type of care going forward. I'd like to congratulate Brian Cook and the Donini's basketball team, who won the provincial senior men's basketball championship here about a week and a half ago now. And I'm also told that the high school team participated in this tournament amongst the best basketball players in the province. And although they didn't win any games, they are to be commended for doing so well. So, you know, Brian Cook, we've talked about Brian in his chamber and amongst ourselves before about the great work he does for basketball, particularly in this community, and the youth program he runs. But very passionate guy when it comes to the basketball, and congratulations to them for winning. And Amy Coady-Davis Councilor, she attended that, I think, the opening ceremonies, and she filled me in on some of this information as well. So glad to hear that they won the provincial championship. They were so close last year. They lost just by a couple of points in the late stages of the game, so it was nice to get some redemption. I had the opportunity to go to the Allen Cup, as you know, and I thought it was fantastic hockey and a great experience, but I just want to tip my cap to the Cataracts organization and team. Not the result they wanted. They lost in the semifinals in a very entertaining game against the Bentley Generals in overtime, but thought they handled themselves quite well on and off the ice, were great representatives for the town, and even though they fell a little short, they need to be congratulated for doing such a good job in that tournament, and they should be proud of their efforts. A couple things over the weekend I took part in very quickly. One was the 21st Annual Provincial Elks Conference that was held here in Grand Falls-Windsor, and just, you know, the Elks Club was held at the Oddfellows Lodge, a dinner, and you just look around when you see those conferences and you see so many lifelong volunteers, and you see so many good people that are involved in these efforts. And the Elks Club particularly do a lot of work for fundraising, and a lot of their funds go to children's causes. So I'd like to congratulate the local organizing group for having that this weekend passed. I understand it was a great success, and to commend them on the work that they do in volunteering. And as we know, that's part of the very fabric of our community and all communities to have those types of groups very active. And the last thing I'll mention, and I got a visual for this one. I'm very pleased to show everybody, I don't know if you can get a good shot of that or not. These will be some new street signs that we'll be putting up in Grand Falls-Windsor. And basically, this came from a request that we got from the...
Turn it a bit.
This is a request we got from the Legion about recognizing our contribution to the war, and at any war-related streets, either battles or names and that, they submitted a list of names that we would put the poppy next to. And as you can see, very nice. I thought it was really nice, and of course our town colors have been incorporated into this sign as well. So looking forward to having these street signs erected within the next month or two. And we will be looking to maybe have some sort of ceremony to recognize the fact that we've been doing this. So, you know, we're pleased to do this as a town. I think they're very attractive signs, and hopefully the Legion and the citizens will be happy with them. And that's it for me tonight.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Great job. Councilor Pinsent,
Mr. Mayor?
our musician and singer, and did a great job, and I understand today some unfortunate people eliminated you from the getting down to the next
Some
level.
talented people, let's be fair.
Some talented people? You did a great job, though. It was a good showing.
Thank you. Getting back to business, of course, the announcement made this week that we're going to have a new hotel come to the town. Just like to say to the residents, of course, that was an announcement that was made by the hotel people themselves, the company that's bringing it in. So that's a much of a relief because we do need another hotel here, so that's coming. I would encourage the residents, I've just said here tonight, but I'll say it again, regarding the focus group that's going to happen on the 12th of May, visioning sessions for what we're going to do once the mill is gone, because that, I think the river, we all agree as a council that the river is going to be a big part of our economic future going forward, and I hope the residents will come out and get the chance to put their 2 cents worth, so to speak, and so we can move ahead. But council is very dedicated to this, and looking forward to the challenge, no doubt, that are ahead. The work crews, just remind everybody, work crews are out. I see them fighting through the weather and fixing potholes, and the street cleaner is on the go. So just be careful when you're going around the town. getting everything back after the winter, and hopefully the weather will warm up, and we'll see some signs of summer, hopefully. Had a chance to speak at a volunteers dinner at St. Joseph's since the last meeting, and I was particularly impressed with the number of volunteers. It was mentioned here tonight as well, and of course the Salvation Army, who some councillors here, an organization that I think second to none, but also all the other volunteers, St. Joseph's Parish themselves, of course our fire department. Where will we be without the volunteers? So thanks again, not only to the Salvation Army, but to all the other volunteers and the people at the dinner that I spoke to. Mind everybody, the Chamber of Commerce Trade Show is coming next week, I do believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, is it coming already? 8th and 9th of May. I knew it was next week. It's already. Yeah, next week. God, we're into May already. So anybody who's looking to go to the trade show, I encourage people to come out and support it. This gives a chance for the local businesses to show their wares, and it's a sure sign that spring is here when the Chamber Trade Show comes. As well, I went to a dinner, and there's a number of us councillors went to a dinner, Chamber of Commerce dinner, where TRAC were honoured. And of course, anybody who's around this table, Tech, I keep going Tech Resources were the guest speakers and the ones of honor. And of course, as most people know, they're going to be shutting down, but they've been a super and continue to be, even though the end is coming for them. They continue to be an excellent supporter of not only the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, but the entire region. And they've been an excellent corporate citizen. So we're going to be sad to see them go. We understand why they're going. Of course, it's the nature of the beast. But we honored that. I think they were honored by the Chamber. And as a town, we just like to say thanks to Tech. I keep calling them Tech. Tech Resources. Yeah, they do have a good track record. I got track in my mind. But Tech Resources.
You can't keep on that same track.
I can't say it enough that they've been an excellent corporate citizen, and we're going to be sad to see them go. And but thank them very much for all of their contributions. And that's all I have today,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Mayor.
Councillor Pinsent. Councillor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Try not to be too long. Maybe I can use Councillor Finn's time. And
I hope that's
Councillor
not,
Moore time.
I hope that's no indication of what you got there, that is going to be how long you want to speak.
You never know. What I've got here.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about it, you'll be ruled out of order before you get finished halfway through.
You wouldn't rule me out of order. I got too many important things to say.
Yeah.
What I've got, Mr. Mayor, is a draft final report for Grand Falls Heritage Committee. And it's been a while in the making. I got to say that the committee and group ATN Consultants, based out of Halifax, which were awarded the contract because they were the lowest price, they've done a phenomenal job in putting together a 114-page document with a lot of great ideas and suggestions. It's a little late coming, and it's going to be a while yet before I can make it public because we had to go back to the consultants and do some tweaking, and they were looking for a little extra detail, more intricate detail, but from what I can gather, from my read, which took me about 4 nights on and off, I expect good things to happen. Now, it's going to cost some money, I would imagine. There's a lot of good options, but I look forward to the day that we can sit down around council chamber and have a discussion and with the committee and have a frank and open discussion ourselves on where to go and what to do. So I'd like to just update council on the big report.
Any date of when that report will be presented to council members so the council can have a read of the report and obviously discussion or comments with regards to what's in the report. I mean, we'd like that. That was part of the mandate the report we made
Sure.
officially.
Oh yeah,
to council.
no doubt about it. Before we have a sit down and a chat and discussion, it'll be circulated with ample opportunity to ask questions, to go in and sit down with a 114-page document and say, let's discuss now would be very inappropriate, but I'm sure I'll give you a couple of hours to notice to read it and
No
get
problem.
through it.
I can do it in about an hour and a half.
Perfect.
Speed reader.
So we're hoping to make it available, I guess, within the next few weeks to council. So just a little update on that. Don't want to reiterate too much of what Deputy Mayor said about youth mental health day awareness. That was at the golf course last Friday. 38 people in attendance. There was supposed to be a few more. A few people had to back out at the last moment for some last-minute emergencies. But from the general consensus that I got in the room, and I'm sure the Deputy Mayor can say the same, was that every single person in that room is looking for a solution, but not a Band-Aid solution. They're looking for a long-term solution. And with the energy and the focus and the vision and the mandate that these people want, they want something better. They want something solid. They want something concrete. And from what I can gather up there, and with council, I think we've got the ability to make Grand Falls-Windsor the National Center of Excellence in caring for youth mental health and addictions. I think we've got it, and I'm sure the Deputy Mayor can attest to this. We were up there, we were in groups, we weren't just sitting around our own little group of 6 or 8. Every different session that we're included, you moved around to different tables, and you got the ability to interact with all 38 people that day. The knowledge and experience in that room was absolutely phenomenal. And I'm aiming high when I say the National Center for Excellence. That would be aiming high, but I can guarantee you that we can be the provincial center of excellence. Like, I don't think even the city or Eastern Elk is on par with what we're doing right here. So I look forward to getting the report back. I spoke with the consultant a few days ago, and she indicated that she'd like 2 or 3 weeks to be able to get a report back to the participants, and we'll share that with council, and we'll bring it up in one of our committees, and we'll have a nice discussion on where to go and see where we want to go as a council. So I think it's something that we should be more than proud to be involved with. Moving on, last week I had the privilege of attending the Heritage Fair at Sprucewood Academy, and going around interacting with these elementary school kids sort of brought back memories. When I participated in these fairs years ago, my project was not of the caliber of what I seen here the other day. Ours was sort of thrown together on a piece of old cardboard, slapped together in no time, but we had fun, and so did the kids. But I got to say I was thoroughly pleased with caliber work that these students did in the various Heritage Fair projects that they had done. And in addition, I made a point of going along and speaking to all the different kids and asking questions and all that kind of stuff, so I was more than pleased. So I'd like to just take a moment and just read out the medal winners. First place in Class 401 was Dakota Langdon, Adam Edges, and Joshua Davis. Second place, Maria Pinsent, Heather Cameron, and Amber Murray. Third place, Emma Beeson and Chloe O'Keefe. And I got to say, these 2 girls did a phenomenal job looking at Heritage Fair. They actually focused on the Salmon Festival. So I did spend some time talking to the girls and asking what they enjoyed with Salmon Fest most, that kind of thing. In Class 402, first place was Abigail Moores and Trinity Barry. Second place was Emma Jenkins and Madison Farr. And third place was Carson Mahoney and Mikola Din. In grade 5, 501, first place Mallory Hunter, Shirlea Party. Second place was Trent Bannister. Third place was Amy Poole and Zoe Early. Class 501, first place went to Mitchell Din. Second place went to Arlie Smith. Third place went to Taylor Caravan and Aaliyah Bennett, with an honorable mention going to Liam Skinner and Casey Berry. And Class 601, first place went to Ashley Green and Kennedy Lawrence. Second place went to Ryan Paul. And third place went to Brandon Power, with an honorable mention to Alexis Ed and Jillian Cook, along with Austin Burge, Dakota Mercer, and Brianna Reed. So kudos to the phenomenal job to the students for organizing, or students for the project, and the staff and the school for organizing such a phenomenal day. And it was open to the public, and there was a lot of parents and grandparents going through. Moving on quickly, I only got 16 more items. I'm joking. CBC.
Time is running out.
CBC. I think there's been, ever since December 2013, I've probably spoken in this chamber on the CBC every single meeting. And not once have I been positive, except for tonight.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I'd like to congratulate fellow Councilor Tom Pinsent. That's where I should have. I was going to say musician. but it would be inappropriate for me to refer to you as a musician. It's Councillor Tom Pinsent, and a phenomenal showing at the CBC Searchlight contest. I voted often and on a daily basis, and I'm sure a lot of people around the province did the same and across the country. And I'd like to congratulate you, sir, and your music abilities and the job that you've done on a national competition. So kudos and congratulations, sir. Two more quick items. Councillor Pinsent mentioned Red Roof Inn. I'd also like to congratulate the Red Roof Inn on their announcement on coming to Grand Falls-Windsor. And I'd also like to congratulate Chairperson Amy Coady-Davis as Chairperson of Economic and Development Committee for doing what they do best in luring business to come to Grand Falls-Windsor. And I get the feeling that this is only the start of what's to come. So congratulations to you and your committee. And the last thing on my agenda is a couple of complaints I've received recently, and it's about large trucks, transport trucks, and a complaint from several residents, mainly in Grenfell Lakes area and in Main Street West. I've received a couple of complaints that some trucks entering and exiting our town aren't going the appropriate way, and I've been told that some trucks leaving the weight scales, instead of going back out onto the Trans-Canada and continuing on down and taking the Scott Avenue access road, sometimes they're just coming down and going through the residential area of Grand Falls-Windsor. So I'd like for possibly staff can keep an eye out to this, and because I don't really mind, because not a big lot of trucks, but if you're going through town on our residential streets, it does have a lot of wear and tear on our roads, especially this time of year when you get the freeze and thaw and the potholes, that kind of thing. It's bad enough when we get staff out working around the clock trying to fix the potholes and make it convenient and better for our residents and not the trucking community. So hopefully we can nip that pretty early so that doesn't get out of hand. And anyway, I think that's it for tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Mercer, and like a lot of these issues sometimes are perennial and they keep coming up. And again, I encourage like all councillors to, if any items that do come up like that and needs immediate attention, to certainly get in contact directly with our directors, either Parks or Director of Public Works, or our police department. I know we get a lot of complaints sometimes, and all I need to do is just call 0411 and get the guys on it, and they take care of it right away. So anytime that these things come up, that we can certainly have access immediately so we can correct the problem, so we can look after that. Councillor Coady-Davis.
I wanted to mention the Exploits Valley Positive Thinkers Club are hosting an event on May 25th and May 26th at the Classic Theatre. The top 10 ways to beat anxiety. Author Jeremy Bennett will be there as the speaker and presenter. He's the author of The Power of the Mind, How I Beat OCD, and The Solution, Learn How to Truly Beat Stress and Anxiety. There has been tremendous support of this show for the May 25th show, so much so that one is sold out, and they did add a second showing on May the 26th at 1 o'clock. If you're interested in attending, you can contact Sheila Trask at the Exploits Positive Thinkers Club, and you can reach Sheila at 292-5622. I want to say a huge congratulations to the Sparkling Blades Figure Skating Club, who did have their gala event. Gosh, was it last weekend or the weekend before? Time is going so fast, I can't keep track. Anyway, it was a fantastic event. Hats off to all of the skaters. Everybody did a beautiful job, and choreography and the program itself was just great. Want to say a big congrats to the club on being able to secure such talent as Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer. They were fabulous. I had the pleasure of attending a dinner with them afterwards with the senior figure skaters, the coaches, Tessa and Scott and myself, and I must say They were beyond expectations in how they presented themselves, how they spoke with the girls involved in the skating. The dinner started at 7. They showed up there a few minutes before 7. They didn't leave the Joe Byrne Stadium till about 20 minutes to 7 once the show was over. So they ran back to their rooms, freshened up, and came right up to the dinner. I left at 10 o'clock. They were still there. They were, the girls were teaching them choreography from one of their dances,
Give any of our caps or toots?
I did not, because I filled in at the last moment and unfortunately didn't have an opportunity to get them. I was a little bit bummed I didn't. But anyway, so they were just great, and like I said, stuck around, took pictures with everybody, took group pictures, took more group pictures, individual pictures, went to the group tables and sat and shared stories. So they were fantastic, and I know the skaters and the club certainly appreciated our partnership in helping to bring Tessa and Scott in. So again, congratulations on a job well done. And just the last item for me this evening, I was pleasantly surprised to receive correspondence from municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador this week asking me to be a spokesperson for Municipal Awareness Day, which is happening on May the 6th, and of course I pleasantly agreed to do that, and I'm very happy to do it. We will have the official launch of Municipal Awareness Day at the MNL Symposium, which is happening this weekend in Gander. And I will chair the launch along with Minister Hutchings, President of MNL, Churns Rogers, as well as Derek Bragg, who is the President of PMA, the Professional Municipal Administrator. So really looking forward to that. I'll have an opportunity to address the crowd who will be there, municipal mayors and councillors. And we'll join the minister and Mr. Bragg and Mr. Rogers in signing the proclamation. And also had the pleasure of going back to my old stomping grounds earlier today, back to the OCM, the radio station, where I worked all through high school and college, and recorded a commercial for Municipal Awareness Day and being involved in municipal councils and encouraging youth as well to participate. So that was an experience, and it was nice to get back there and sit behind a microphone again. I enjoyed that. And the spots will air on the radio from May 3rd to the 6th, and looking forward to hearing some of those. I did receive copies, so I will post it on my Facebook and toot my own horn a little bit, and hopefully everything will go well at the convention this weekend. And again, I guess now, Mayor, I'm going to have to, in the spirit of Municipal Awareness Day, going to have to host some kind of an event, or so I'm going to have to get busy now over the next few days and figure out what I'm going to do.
Well, you can, it's entirely up to you. I know it's usually, I know usually we do sometimes recognize our workers during the spring of the year, not necessarily on Municipal Awareness Day, and that's something you can probably have a chat with the Director
Yes,
of Public
I
Works
will
and our
definitely
acting,
do that.
who's acting tonight? Are you acting tonight?
Acting
You're
temporary.
acting, our acting CEO.
For sure.
You'll be able to work that out,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
but definitely to encourage youth as well. There
Yeah.
may be some type of a little event or something I can host that will encourage youth to become involved in municipal politics. So,
Absolutely.
thank you.
More youth, the better. Just look around this table. Councilor Mercer, the Citizen of the Year.
Yes.
Want to just another quick reminder on that one?
Just a reminder, Councillor Moores usually looks after Citizen of the Year reminder. He also sits on the committee with me. Deadline for applications is Monday coming, with the event on Wednesday, May the 13th at 7 p.m. So just a reminder, if you know of anyone out there that's deserving of being Grand Falls-Windsor Lions Club Citizen of the Year, please pick up a nomination form at the front desk here at Town Hall and fill fill it out and nominate that person. And if you're looking to buy tickets, tickets are also available downstairs at the front desk and also from committee club members.
Okay, good. And Youth of the Year, June the 1st, it's a Monday, McDonald's Family Restaurant. And again, the nomination forms are available downstairs in the office and also at all the schools. And certainly encourage our young people, because we do have a lot of young people that are involved in our community throughout the years, and we certainly like to recognize them. So again, that's on June the 1st, on Monday, at McDonald's Family Restaurant, Youth of the Year, and the applications and nominations are available downstairs and also at the schools. And before I clue up this evening, I'd just like to, I guess, recognize, again, we talk about volunteers, and certainly while I was away, I was certainly shocked to hear of Marg's passing, and of course Marg McCarthy, which is the wife of our former fire chief as well. And from a distance, it's never good to receive that type of news, and then it's even more difficult from a distance, and then it's even more difficult when you recognize them that it's a friend of yours. And of course, Marg went to school with my wife, and I know how upset she was during the whole time that she was still lost. And I guess what I wanted to really recognize from council's perspective tonight is our exploit search and rescue. As you know, of course, these folk, they volunteered their time. They took time away from work, and they were relentless in looking and searching and making sure that everything that they could possibly do, they did. And I certainly would not be able to understand what it's like not to be able to find your loved one. And I'm sure that the family must have been going through that such a terrible time. And I did have an opportunity to speak to them after I returned from my vacation. And I was fortunate enough to be able to get back in time to pay my respects at the funeral service. But again, the search and rescue went above and beyond. And I know the reason they do that, because that's the way they are. They volunteer their time for that, for these situations and these circumstances. And I know it must have been difficult for them, because actually some of the search and rescue were actually family members, and that even made it more difficult. And so I'm sure I speak on behalf of all of council to recognize the work that our ground search and rescue did to make sure that there was some closure in this very tragic event. And little did we know that, when Lara passed away in December, that just a few months after that this was going to happen to Marg. And of course, we all know Marg. The entire community knew Marg. And the type of person she was, she really touched everybody's lives. And as our fire chief mentioned in his tribute, there was never a dull moment when you came in contact with Marg. She was just that type of person. So the community really, in the last few months, have lost two great people in recognizing that. And I guess we don't always, mention all individuals that pass away in our community, but they're all very, very important. But I guess in this situation, Marg and Lara have been involved within the community as fire chief, and of course Marg with her volunteer work with the fire department as well. And so on behalf of council, we'd like to pass our condolences on to the family, and certainly we keep them in our thoughts and our prayers. And again, to the ground search and rescue, our boys and ladies, and they do so much work for us. We certainly want to recognize and say a big thank you to them, and thank them for all the work that they did. So on a sad note, that's we'll finish off our meeting tonight, and I guess Councillor Pinsent and Councillor Moores and Councillor Coady-Davis and myself will be off to Gander for more training and getting up to speed on a lot of the issues that municipalities are facing, and hopefully we'll be able to learn something, as we always do in those sessions, and certainly look forward to that. Always a time for relaxations too, and we look forward to that piece. So if we have a motion to adjourn, Deputy Mayor, and seconded by Councillor Pinsent, and we will see you in 3 weeks.